a couple weeks ago, David Haye made it known publicly that Shannon Briggs was going to be fighting on his undercard on May 21st. But as far as I know, Shannon Briggs has yet to get a license to fight from the British Border Boxing Control. And up until the past couple of days, there wasn't any opponent that had been announced for Shannon Briggs. Now, the license situation, again, I don't know about. I still haven't heard nothing about it. But in terms of an opponent, Shannon Briggs has announced on social media in the past couple of days that he'll be fighting Alexander Dimetrenko on that David Haye undercard on May 21st. If that fight does go ahead, and it indeed is Dimetrenko, and he does get his license and whatnot, it's an interesting fight for Shannon Briggs. Dimetrenko will definitely be by far the best opponent that Shannon Briggs has faced since the Vitaly Klitschko fight. Now, obviously, Dimetrenko's nowhere near as good as Vitaly Klitschko, but you look at the guys that Shannon Briggs has fought since the Klitschko fight, not one of them is someone that you would pick to beat Alexander Dimetrenko. So he's far better than the guys Briggs has been facing recently. With that being said, Dimetrenko is nothing special. He's a European level fighter, or at least at his very best, he was a European level fighter. And at the moment, you'd probably say he's fringe European level. He's not that good, but he is a big guy. He's 6'7", 250 pounds. He's in shape. He's not a guy that carries a whole heap of body fat. He does have pretty good foot speed. Not great hand speed, but fairly good foot speed. Decent punching power. He's an okay fighter. Nothing special. But for a guy as old and over the hill as Shannon Briggs is, and don't let the Let's Go champion, the body, fool you. Shannon Briggs is over the hill by his standards at least. He don't have more than a couple good rounds in him. And even when he was in his prime, when he was in his 20s, he never had great stamina in the first place. He says that's because he's got asthma. Whatever the case may be, he never had great stamina back then. He was always easy to hit, even in his prime. So now that he's 44 years old, I believe, he's going to be even easier to hit. His stamina is going to be even worse. He's not quite as quick. He's definitely not a slow heavyweight these days, but not as quick as he used to be. And as I say, when he's as open as he is, and there are so many big, technically good heavyweights out there, he's going to have problems, Shannon Briggs, the higher he moves up in competition. But against Dimetrenko, will Briggs just be able to overpower him? Because that's what Briggs is going to try to do. He's going to try to come smoking in the first round and just let all the bombs fly and try and take Dimetrenko out early. If he don't manage to take Dimetrenko out early, Briggs could have problems in this fight. I'm just going to tell you straight. Dimetrenko, I mean, if he don't take Dimetrenko out early, I guess it depends on how intimidated Dimetrenko is, because Briggs can be a very intimidating character in the ring. If he hits Dimetrenko with a few of those big, heavy shots, he might just keep Dimetrenko in his place for the whole fight. So even if you don't take him out early, Dimetrenko will be too intimidated to make a fight of it. That could happen. I mean, if you go back, I know it was a long time ago and Dimetrenko's probably grown mentally since then. But if you go back a few years and watch the Eddie Chambers Alexander Dimetrenko fight, it was alarming the way that a little guy like Chambers, who is skilled, but still very little compared to Dimetrenko, it was alarming the way he was able to bully Dimetrenko, particularly in the second half of that fight, and actually scored a knockdown over him. That was alarming. When a guy's that big, you don't expect a little guy like Eddie Chambers, who's no Mike Tyson. He's not some big devastating puncher and a knockout artist. You don't expect a guy like that to be able to come forward and bully someone like a Dimetrenko. I mean, he did do it a couple other times. I think when he fought Derek Russey, he kind of bullied Derek Russey, particularly in the first fight. And Derek Russey's a pretty big guy too. But still, we're not talking about a Joe Frazier or a Mike Tyson here. We're talking about Eddie Chambers. And he was able to push, the big 6'7", 250 pound Dimetrenko back. So if he's able to do that, you have to figure that Shannon Briggs will be able to do it. As I say, if Dimetrenko comes with any type of heart, any type of ambition, and he manages to survive the inevitable early onslaught, which will come at him from Shannon Briggs, it might get interesting in the second half of the fight, where Dimetrenko might be able to jab and land some combinations at long range and then get away again. But I don't know. The likelihood is he'll probably be too intimidated to do that. But we'll see. From a technical point of view, and just from a fitness point of view, there is an opportunity there for Dimetrenko if he can survive the early rounds. That's what I will say. There is an opportunity to be able to outbox Shannon Briggs if he can make it out of the first few rounds, but he's going to need his heart to do it. Briggs, as I say, very intimidating, punches extremely hard, and, it is what it is. So we'll soon see if the fight goes ahead. Some people may say, why would David Haye announce Shannon Briggs on the undercard? And, why would they be talking about him fighting Dimetrenko if it's not yet all confirmed and set in stone? Well, because of the publicity. Even if Shannon Briggs ain't yet got or hasn't yet been approved by the British Board of Boxing Control to fight on that show, David Haye's like, well, to hell with it. We're going to announce that he's fighting on that show anyway, because it's going to drive ticket sales. And that's what I want. I want people to buy tickets for the event. I want to drum up publicity for the event. So whether Briggs pulls out last minute because he can't get licensed, I don't care. That's probably what David Haye's thinking at this point. So we'll see how it goes, people. And obviously David Haye, again, is talking about fighting Shannon Briggs later on in the year. Maybe he won't fight Shannon Briggs later on in the year. If a better offer comes up, I'm sure David Haye will pull out, fight somebody else instead. We'll see how it goes. Drop your comments in the comment section below, people. Let me know how you feel about this whole situation. Briggs fighting, possibly fighting Dimetrenko. Will that fight go ahead on the undercard? Will it be somebody else? I think Dimetrenko pulled out of a fight recently. I can't remember who it was against. Was it Luis Ortiz? Did he pull out again? I can't remember who it was now, but I'm sure he pulled out of a fight recently. So will the Briggs-Dimetrenko fight go ahead? Will Briggs fight on Haye's undercard at all? Is Haye just using this for publicity and really has no intention of having Briggs fight on his undercard, or really doesn't care about it? Let me know in the comment section below, people. It's your boy Hatman. I'm out.